Hey guys, so if you haven't heard it yet, the team behind the Tailwind, which is called the Tailwind Labs, is apparently having some issues with them not being profitable enough to maintain their team. So it's an open source team. They've been running Tailwind since back when, I don't even remember when Tailwind started becoming a thing, but over the last 2 years, I would say they've gained a lot of users, mainly because of AI, because all these AI code generators that build websites from the ground up, they mostly rely on Tailwind because it's an open source CSS framework, and they rely on that. Most likely, if you've used any of them to vibe code an app, you've had Tailwind in that app, and by default, that's what it goes for, because it's just a much more convenient way of doing things and much more streamlined way. And you would think that the company seeing as much growth as they have been seeing over the past 2 years, they would be expanding, but no, because they couldn't find a way to monetize their technology. So it's open source. They do have like a paid tier called Tailwind Plus, which has like components, which has like more advanced components that were built by the Tailwind team. Great stuff to start by, or to kind of get your mind into like the way to build better components, better Tailwind components. So they had that going for themselves, but the only way they would find, the main way to advertise those that paid tier was through their documentation. So you go through the documentation, then they will suggest, we have the plus version of this if you want, which would simplify your life. So you have the components pre-built, and then you just style by doing your branding and things like that. So I think it's something similar to there's like Tailwind components, and then there's Shadcn. So it's kind of in that sense. Yeah. So they've been having trouble making money, even though they gained a lot of users. So yeah, we're just gonna read the article, and then I'll give you my 2 cents on it. So Tailwind cut 75%. I'm just gonna zoom a little bit. Tailwind cuts 75% jobs as AI destroys 80% revenue. CEO Adam Waithen said that Tailwind's CSS framework is now seeing around 75 million downloads a month, largely because of AI tools that generate Tailwind code automatically. Like I said, that's what's been happening. Tailwind Labs has laid off 75% of its engineering team after a sharp collapse in revenue, ironically, as usage of its open source framework continues to surge. The company says the rise of AI coding agents has fundamentally broken its business model by cutting developers off from the documentation pages that once drove paid conversions. Founder and CEO Adam Waithen said that Tailwind's CSS framework is now seeing around 75 million downloads a month, largely because AI tools generate Tailwind code automatically. That success has come with an unexpected cost. Traffic to Tailwind's documentation is down about 40% from early 2023, and revenue has fallen close to 80%, according to the founder. The documentation pages were the primary channel through which users discovered Tailwind's commercial products. Quote, but the reality is that 75% of people on our engineering team lost their jobs here yesterday because of the brutal impact AI has had on our business, the founder wrote on GitHub. Every second I spend trying to do fun, free things for the community like this is a second I'm not spending trying to turn business around and make sure the people who are still here are getting paid. Let's hope it gets started for good. It's a phenomenal product. Yeah, so this is pretty sad. So you would think by it gaining popularity, it will be a way for them to even make more money. Maybe hire a bigger team, because if they get more like free users on the open source, they would most likely get a lot of like enterprise or like a company that just want to use Tailwind Plus to gain a little bit more out of it. But that's not the case, because most of the users they're seeing are most of the uses they see, I say user, but their uses they see are coming from AI tools that are generating Tailwind code, and then some vibe coder just puts it online or stuff like that. And this is the problem, because you feel for them, because these guys are building this for free. It's an open source project at the end of the day. And this is where I think it's just starting to hurt in some sense. AI is just going to hurt open source, because these open source teams, at least the serious ones that want to actually make a good open source project, which most likely have like funding and have like people hired to make sure that everything goes well. Because if it's just like an open source that doesn't have any backing, no sponsors, no nothing, I don't think it's gonna last. Like, we all have like projects that we put there as open source, but they're not gonna gain like any traction until you actually build something phenomenal to the point where other people want to build on top of what you built, and then you get funding, and then you hire a team. Kind of what they did. Like, they did what they did. They did what they set out to do, and they were doing it so well. But this is what happens, because it's not even something where you can say they could like sue these AI companies or something, because the code was already there and they scraped it, and their product, the Tailwind Plus, those components they sell are like systems. Those are already, I'm pretty sure they were already scraped up by AI. So AI is able to generate something closer to what those like a Tailwind Plus built components. They're able to have them without paying. So it's kind of stealing, but not really, because it's an open source framework, and it's the same thing, same technology they use to build their paid stuff. So you can't really do anything about it, legally speaking. I'm not a lawyer though. And also, it's open source. So they're kind of caught in a very tough predicament, where they have to come up with a way to make money in order to make sure that the open source keeps going, but also they make money to keep it going, because it's the paid product that gets them to keep doing the open source. And if that stops, then it will be a sad day, because they will stop maintaining Tailwind, and that might be like the end of it, or maybe just some other company is gonna pick it up. So what do I think in this case? In this case, I think like the best way things could go is if like these bigger companies like Google or Microsoft, or even like all of them, they should pitch in to help Tailwind, because at the end of the day, their AI, their monopoly they have on AI is the same one that capitalizes off these tools. They're pushing vibe coders to do things. So they should also help the open source projects that help those vibe coded projects come to life. They say like a project like this, it will be so sad. I don't think it's gonna happen, but it will be so sad if we end up in a world where like Tailwind is no longer a thing. Because I love Tailwind, guys. It just simplifies a lot of things. It just makes things so easy and so streamlined, especially if you're working in a large code base. It's just night and day. So I will always be a supporter for the Tailwind team. And yeah, I appreciate like any dev would say, like, we appreciate what they've done for the community, and the fact that they made it open source. They could have put it behind a paywall, but they didn't do it. They made it free. They do have the paid stuff, but yeah, they managed to survive for so long and make it better. They're on version 4 point something, and it's still kicking, still good, still pushing boundaries, and yeah. I've always supported them. So it's a sad day to see something like this happen, to see them like however, I don't know how big their team was, but like to see like a team lose 75% of its engineering, not just like some other profession, but like engineering. That means it's like developers that are getting laid off, and it's sad. So I think for me, the perfect solution for this will be if like these bigger companies, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who benefit from it, more so than the vibe coders, and also more so than these open source projects would in any way. So I think these AI companies at least the ones that have like a coding agents, which is all of them, they should pitch in to kind of help these open source projects that at the end of the day help their tools work properly. Because right now, like the AI vibe coding platforms, all of them, they rely on Tailwind. So they should give a little kickback to the project that's maintaining, that's helping your agents, your AI agents do their job the way they're doing it right now. So that's what I think should happen, or at least in the future, I would hope something like this would happen. Because if that doesn't happen, I think like the quality open source projects, they're gonna be a thing of the past. I think it's the Primogen who said it best, like that open source didn't make sense. I think he mentioned it in one of the videos. I don't know if he was joking, or at least I saw it in a short. I don't know if he was joking. He's always joking. But I think open source is something to do it for fun, yes. But when you start getting something that's as useful as Tailwind, it becomes something, it takes a life of its own. So at that point, I think it's up to these bigger companies that could spare the money to just help a little bit. I'm not sure if they already do, because these projects are already sponsored by a bunch of people. But you would expect them to, you would expect them to help a project like this, because at the end of the day, they also rely on it from a distance. Let's just say that. Anyway, yeah, so I would hope that my idea of it would be that at some point, these AI agents that generate code, if they generate code using some tool, that they will give a little kickback to the platform, or maybe like help advertise the platform. So if it uses Tailwind CSS, it could maybe include like a little advertisement. Oh, by the way, if you like a little Tailwind Plus could help, kind of, because you're essentially taking the audience from one platform and you channeling it towards yourself. Like Google right now, when you make a search and their AI kicks in and then starts suggesting things or like listing things, but that information it gives you, it got from the websites, but it's not taking you to those websites for you to go there and then maybe make a little money to whoever wrote the article originally. So it's kind of hurting those. And this goes across the board. This is like the news websites or like blogs and stuff like that. If you have a blog and then you do advertising on the blog to make a little money, and then Gemini is just taking all your search traffic to Gemini and then just using your data to render there, at least you would expect that it would at least put a link there, like say, or maybe suggest the paid product of whatever open source thing you're using, kind of thing, to kind of maintain that. That's just my take on it. I think that would be the fairest way of doing it. And also I think like these large companies, they should help out. Yeah, that's my take on it. We can continue reading, but I don't think it's gonna do any good other than what we know from now. So 75% of the engineering team lost their jobs. It's a sad thing to see. And I don't want this to keep happening to open source projects. And I would hope that Tailwind finds a way, and that the other open projects too, they find a way to make money, but also staying open source, because that's the whole point of open source. Anyway, that's my take on it. It's a pretty sad news to get today. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I thank you if you finished the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that. I post here almost daily, every week, so make sure you sub and hit the like button, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think open source is something that's going to go away as AI just keeps getting better and better and getting better at stealing people's work? Anyway, yeah, let's discuss in the comments below. Thank you so much for finishing the video, and I'll catch you next time.